Welcome to Stephen Classes. Today we will have a different chapter from second year, Human Health and Disease. In this chapter we will discuss about different types of diseases. We have bacterial diseases, fungal diseases, viral diseases, protozoan diseases, and also helminth diseases in detail. And also we will learn about the HIV infection, cancer, and about drug abuse. So this is actually a very big chapter and we will try to finish questions within the stipulated time. Right. So here comes our first question for you. It is about Salmonella typhi. What is Salmonella typhi? It is a bacterium which causes typhoid. So typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. When you learn about these diseases, you should have a clear idea about the causative organism, the part affected, mode of transmission, and also the symptoms. So these four things you have to learn for each and every disease. You should prepare a table so that it will be very simple for you to follow all these points. You got it? So prepare a table of diseases. Then only you will be able to understand all the symptoms and part affected, mode of transmission, and regarding the name of pathogen. Everything you will be able to understand easily when you have a table of all these diseases. You got it? Now we have a slide for you, a picture of Typhoid Mary. You know who is Typhoid Mary? Typhoid Mary, she is a cook by profession. She is actually a carrier of this disease, typhoid. That is why she is named as Typhoid Mary. That is the nickname of Mary Mullen. So she was actually transmitting this disease to all those persons to whom she was serving food. So that is the story of Typhoid Mary. Now coming back to the question, you should also know about the diagnostic test of typhoid. Vidal test, that is the diagnostic test for typhoid. So here we have the statements. I will read one by one. It is a pathogenic bacterium which causes pneumonia. That is wrong. Because pneumonia is caused by Haemophilus influenzae and Streptococcus pneumoniae. So the first statement is wrong. What about the second statement? Pathogens generally enter via mosquito bite. That is wrong. In the case of typhoid, the transmission is by contaminated food and water, and it is not by mosquito bite. You can say that filariasis and malaria, they are transmitted by mosquito bite or there is vector involved. So here the second statement is also wrong. So here we have the third and fourth. The third one is the symptom of typhoid, high sustained fever. So remember, high sustained fever of 39 to 40 degrees Celsius, that is one of the main symptom of typhoid. And also intestinal perforation and death. It will occur in severe cases in the case of typhoid. So here, only the 3 and 4, they are the correct statements for typhoid. The wrong statements are 1 and 2. So the correct answer is option B. Shall we move to our next question? Here we have the next question for you. On the screen, match the following. So this question is very simple. Common cold you can match with which organism? Common cold is caused by a virus of the category rhinovirus. You got it. Pneumonia is caused by Haemophilus influenzae. You are right. And what about typhoid, Salmonella typhi? Then Gambia fever that is caused by Trypanosoma gambiense. Trypanosoma gambiense, that is coming under the category of zooflagellates. As you know, among protozoans, zooflagellates, a typical example is Trypanosoma gambiense. Trypanosoma brucei gambiense. It is actually causing that disease called Gambia fever or trypanosomiasis. And the vector involved is tsetse fly. So the picture is shown here. So you can match Gambia fever with Trypanosoma gambiense. Then filariasis you can match with Wuchereria bancrofti. So the correct answer will be option D here. I think you are right. We move on to our next question. Pre-erythrocytic phase of the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax occurs in You know, malarial parasite or Plasmodium vivax is a digenetic parasite because it will complete the life cycle in two hosts. One is man and other is female Anopheles mosquito. Within man, it will complete the asexual way of reproduction, or schizogeny is mainly performed in man. And in man, this plasmodium will infect the liver cells as well as the RBCs. But in the case of mosquito, when it enters into the mosquito, it will perform the sexual part of the life cycle. You got it? So sexual part of life cycle will be completed within the gut of mosquito. We have the slide for you. This slide, it is showing the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. Here you can see in this picture sporozoites. Sporozoites, they are formed within the salivary gland of a mosquito which is already infected, and when it bites a human being, these sporozoites are injected into the blood of that person. Sporozoites, that is the infective stage of malarial parasite. Then what happens? These sporozoites, they will first enter the liver cells. Remember, sporozoites, they will enter into the liver cell. They will perform a schizogeny, and then it will release merozoites or cryptomerozoites. And these cryptomerozoites, what will happen further? These cryptomerozoites, they can again attack the liver cell. They may again attack the liver cell, or some of them will enter into the RBC. And within RBC, it will form the signature stage. Different stages are there. Trophozoite stage. Okay. And finally, it will release the merozoites. So, when it attacks the RBC, and when RBC ruptures, it will result in the release of merozoites and hemozoin granules. Release of merozoites and hemozoin granules, that is the reason for the chill and fever of malaria. Which is the most important symptom of malaria? That is the chill and fever characteristic of malaria. And that is due to release of merozoites and hemozoin granules after rupturing of the RBC. Okay. And these merozoites, they will develop into the gametocytes. And when a mosquito bites this infected person, these gametocytes will enter into its system or into its gut. And these gametocytes are transformed into microgamete, macrogamete, and there will be fertilization and sexual reproduction happens within mosquito. Okay, so in this slide you can see the sexual reproduction happening. So sexual reproduction is happening within mosquito here. That will result in the zygote, and the zygote further develop into an ookinete. Ookinete, it will further undergo a sporocyst form, and the sporocyst form further divides into a set of sporozoites, and they will migrate into the salivary gland. And again the same mosquito, if that infected mosquito bite a person, these sporozoites will enter into that person, into that healthy person, and that healthy person becomes infected, right? So sexual part of life cycle happens in mosquito. Okay. So sexual part of the life cycle is happening in the gut of mosquito, whereas the asexual part, it will happen in the human being. So here we have the question for you. Here, pre-erythrocytic phase of the life cycle. Erythrocytic phase of the life cycle will happen within the RBC, whereas the pre-erythrocytic phase of the life cycle will happen in the liver cell, because first it attacked the liver cell. You got it? So pre-erythrocytic cycle will happen in the liver cells of man. Okay, erythrocytic cycle will happen in the RBC. The sexual life cycle will happen in the gut of mosquito. So our answer is option B here. What about brain of man? In the case of Plasmodium falciparum, in later stages it will affect the brain also. So here our answer is very clear, option B. We move to our next question now. We have the next question. Identify the wrong statement regarding innate immunity. You know, immunity. What you can say about immunity? We have the slide for you. Immunity is of two types actually. Innate and acquired. What is immunity? The ability to resist diseases and disease causing agents, that is called immunity. And we have two types of immunity, innate immunity and acquired immunity. The immunity that we attain by birth or by genetic makeup of an individual, that is called innate immunity. Whereas acquired immunity we attain after birth by interacting with antigens in the due course of life. So innate immunity is non-specific, whereas acquired immunity is highly specific. We have a set of barriers for innate immunity. Innate immunity is attained by a set of barriers: physical, physiological, cellular and cytokine. These examples for these different barriers you have to keep in your mind. Okay, physical barriers, skin and mucus. Then acidity in stomach, that is example for physiological barrier, lysozyme in saliva, etc. So cellular barriers, PMNL, macrophages, etc., neutrophils, etc. So here cytokine barrier, example interferons. You are right. So here we have the question slide for you. We have the question slide. Identify the wrong statement regarding innate immunity. So here it is non-specific type of defense. That is the correct statement. It is present at the time of birth. That is also correct. It is accomplished by providing different 4 types of barriers. That is also true. It can recognize and specifically eliminate foreign microbes. That is wrong. Because only in acquired immunity there is a character called specificity. Innate immunity is non-specific. So 4th statement is wrong. Then what about the 5th one? It is available by virtue of genetic makeup of individual. That is correct regarding innate immunity. So here our answer is option D here. So we move on to our next question. Identify the correct statements. So these statements, it is about the acquired immunity. Okay. In detail, you should know what is acquired immunity. It is an immunity that we attain after birth, and it is highly specific. It is having characteristics like diversity, discrimination between self and non-self, memory, etc. So here, in the case of acquired immunity, we learn about 2 types of responses: primary immune response and secondary immune response. What is a primary immune response? When an antigen enters for the first time, that is called primary immune response. So primary immune response, in this diagram you can see here in this graph, it is very low. It is having a very low intensity. It will take time also. So it will take more time and it is of low intensity, primary immune response. So we can produce antibodies only up to this extent when it is primary immune response. But when the same antigen enters for the second time, then we have a secondary immune response. You can see it over here. So second exposure to the antigen will elicit a secondary immune response, and it is of a high intensity, or it is an anamnestic immune response. So the amount of antibody produced will be very high, and it will be within a very short span of time we are attaining that immunity. So in this graph it is very clear the difference between primary immune response and the secondary immune response. So here we have the question slide for you. You have to identify the correct statements. So among statements, only the 3rd statement is supposed to be correct here. Other statements are wrong. Why? Because acquired immunity is not pathogen specific. It is wrong. Acquired immunity is highly specific. Second encounter of the pathogen produces a response called secondary immune response, which is of low intensity. This statement is also wrong. Second immune response is of high intensity always. Then 3rd one is correct, because a second encounter will produce a secondary immune response, and it is called memory. That is also true. So 3rd one is correct. What about the 4th one and 5th one? Why they are wrong? Because 4th one, it is actually the B lymphocytes which will produce antibodies. It is not T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes are responsible for production of antibodies. Then B cells themselves do not secrete antibodies but help T cells to produce them. Actually, you have to form the sentence in the reverse manner to make it correct, because Actually, the T cells themselves do not secrete antibodies, but they will help the B cells to produce them. Right? So, if the sentence construction was in the different way, you can make that correct statement. Okay, make it correct. But here, the only correct statement will be statement 3. So, the answer will be option B here. You got it? We move to our next question. We have the next question on the screen now. Which one is true regarding antibody? So the structure of antibody you have to keep in your mind. Antibody molecule or the immunoglobulin molecule is having 4 polypeptides. It is having 2 heavy chains shown in the blue diagram. Okay, blue here. That shows the heavy chains, and light chains, it is in green and yellow, right? Okay, so light chains and heavy chains. In both of them, you can see the constant region as well as the variable region. This lower portion is a constant region and the upper portion is always the variable portion. And on the variable region of the antibody molecule, you can see the antigen binding sites. So 2 antigen binding sites you can see over here. So that is on the variable region of the antibody molecule. And the stability of the antibody molecule is by way of disulfide linkages. You got it? So antibody molecule is also called the immunoglobulin. Is having 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains, and it is having H2L2 character. We have the question for you right now on the screen. Which one of the following is true regarding antibody? So here all except 2 are correct here. So the second statement is wrong here. All others are correct. What you can say about the second statement? The constant region of the antibody is having antigen binding site. I told you right now, only the variable region of the antibody will have antigen binding site. So that is why the second statement is wrong here. All other statements are true. Antibody molecule has 4 polypeptide chains, 2 heavy and 2 light. That is correct. 4 intra-disulfide linkages are present on the heavy chain, and 1 is in the variable region and 3 in the constant region. All these are true. You have to go through the diagram. Okay. Then IgA present in the colostrum will provide a passive immunity to the newborn. That is also true. So newborn will get a passive immunity by the presence of IgA. That is a type of immunoglobulin. You got it? So here only the second statement is wrong here. So correct answer is option D. All except 2. Second statement is wrong here. So all except 2 will be our answer, or option D is our answer. You got it? Shall we move to our next question? Here is our next question. What are the following is not a case of passive immunity? You have to identify. You know the difference between active immunity and passive immunity. We have the slide for you. Acquired immunity is having 2 types, active and passive. In the case of active immunity, it is by entry of antigens we make antibodies. So when by the entry of antigens, when an organism produces antibodies against it, that type of immunity is called active immunity. But in the case of passive immunity, there will be entry of ready-made antibodies. When ready-made antibodies are entering into an organism, and when that is responsible for immunity, then it is called passive immunity. In both cases, you can learn about the natural as well as artificial. Active immunity will be natural. In the case of natural exposure to antigens, it is natural. Okay, when we have diseases, that is natural entry of antigen. Then artificial mean vaccination. We will inject killed or inactivated antigens to our body to make us immune against some diseases. So that is example for artificial type of active immunity. And passive immunity, natural, will be in the case of colostrum and also in the case of IgG, which is able to cross placenta, which will give immunity to the fetus. So to the newborn, it is IgA, but to the fetus, it is IgG. Remember that point. Now, artificial. Artificial mean when you are injecting antibodies deliberately. Okay. Or you can say in the case of snake bite, in the case of tetanus toxin, These are the two examples given in your NCERT for artificial kind of passive immunity, where we inject the pre-formed antibodies deliberately. So passive immunity is also of two types, natural and artificial. Is it clear? So we move on to the question slide right now. In the question slide, we have some statements. One of the following is not a case of passive immunity. So here, all other statements A, B, C, they are correct regarding passive immunity, but statement D, that is applicable for active immunity here. Okay, so this is our answer, option D. Because hepatitis B vaccine produced from yeast given for protection against hepatitis, that is applicable for, that is for active immunity, that is active immunization, that is active immunization. When you are providing vaccines, that is active immunization. So all other statements that is applicable for passive immunity. Okay, because in all other cases antibodies are involved. Shall we move to our next question? Yes. From the given clues, identify the concerned body part or tissue. So you have to learn about lymphoid organs. Here we have a slide of lymphoid organs. Lymphoid organs are of two types, primary lymphoid organs and also secondary lymphoid organs. What is the difference between primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organ? Primary lymphoid organs are those lymphoid organs in which lymphocytes are produced and they are getting matured. For example, bone marrow and thymus. But secondary lymphoid organs, here secondary lymphoid organs are shown. Secondary lymphoid organs are the lymphoid organs to which lymphocytes will migrate after their maturation. Okay. So here examples for secondary lymphoid organs and primary lymphoid organs are shown here. For secondary lymphoid organs, examples are spleen, lymph nodes, paste, patches in small intestine, vermiform appendix and MALT. What is MALT here? Mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. You got it? So here comes the statements and our question. From the given clue, identify the concerned body part or tissue. So our answer will be option B here, because first statement is about spleen. It is a large bean-shaped organ containing lymphocytes and phagocytes. That is about spleen. And what about Z and Y? Okay, Y is about MALT, because more than 50% of the lymphoid tissue in our body is composed of mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. The lymphoid tissue which is found associated with the major tracts, that forms the mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. So Y is about MALT. And what about Z? Lymphoid organ diminishing its size by advancing age, that is our thymus. You know, thymus gland, it is very large at the time of birth, but the size of the thymus will reduce by advancing age. You got it? So correct answer is option B here. We move on to our next question. Here in this question, it is about the HIV infection. So identify X, Y, Z from the diagrammatic representation of replication of retrovirus. Retrovirus is or HIV. HIV is an example for retrovirus because it is having RNA as the genetic material, and once it enters into the host cell, it is able to produce a DNA copy from it. You got it? By reverse transcription. So from RNA to DNA, that is called reverse transcription, and it requires reverse transcriptase enzyme. Okay, so to discuss in detail, we have a diagram for you. So this diagram, it will give an idea about the different steps involved during the HIV infection. So HIV, it will first give the RNA, and from this RNA, it will make a DNA copy. So for that, an enzyme is required, that is X. X is actually reverse transcript. We will move to the question for further explanation. So here, in this question, it is very clear. Y is viral RNA and Z is mRNA. So Z is actually mRNA and Y is viral RNA. Okay, because new viruses are budding off from that region. So this is Y corresponds to viral RNA. Okay, and Z corresponds to the mRNA actually. You got it? So our answer will be option B. Now we move on to our next question. Select the feature of benign tumors. You know, tumors are of two types, benign tumors and malignant tumors. What is the difference? In the case of benign tumors, they remain confined to their original location. But in the case of malignant tumors, they will spread from their primary site to form the secondary site, etc. Okay. So here, in the case of benign malignant tumors, it will show metastasis. So metastasis is clearly shown here because from the primary tumor, okay, some of the cells are getting dislodged, some of the cancer cells are getting dislodged, and they will move through the lymph vessels and blood vessels to reach another site, and there again they get deposited and they will form a secondary tumor there. Okay, so from primary to secondary there will be movement. So the cancerous cells, they are spreading in our body if it is showing malignancy. So that is what is called malignant tumor, and that property is called metastasis. Here you should also remember about contact inhibition. You know about contact inhibition. That property is for normal cells. Cancer cells, they have lost the property of contact inhibition. So loss of contact inhibition for cancerous cells. That point is also important. So malignancy only for malignant tumor. Metastasis only for malignant tumor. Coming back to our question here. Select the feature of benign tumor. Our answer will be option A, because they remain confined to their original location. What about other options? Other options are applicable for the malignant tumors. Okay. So we move on to our next question now. It is about the incorrect match. So we have a set of plants and their products which are commonly abused. For example, hemp plant. Hemp plant is our Cannabis sativa or the ganja plant. Okay, so here it is wrongly matched. Hemp plant is actually Cannabis sativa. Poppy plant is actually papaver. So here our answer will be incorrect match. We will go to the answer later on. Here we have some pictures. So in these pictures, this is ganja plant, and other one is poppy plant, and the last one shown here, that is Erythroxylon coca or coca plant. Okay. Now we have the question slide once again. So here the answer shown is actually D. Is it our answer? Erythroxylon coca is coca plant or cocoa plant. What do you think? You are a little confused, I think. Actually, the coca plant is Erythroxylon coca, but cocoa plant is different. So the third one is also incorrectly matched. So coca plant is the COCA. Coca plant is scientifically called COCA. Coca plant is scientifically called Erythroxylon coca. But cocoa plant is different, which is used for making cocoa powder or used in chocolates. So that is different. So here the correct answer will be option D here. Don't get confused with this particular matching. This is also incorrect match. So option D is our correct answer. We move on to our next question. Misuse of anabolic steroids in male will result. So this is a very important topic regarding misuse of anabolic steroids. So there are problems in male as well as in female by the misuse of anabolic steroids. People, they use anabolic steroids to increase their efficiency, to increase their performance, especially by athletes. So here misuse of anabolic steroids characters found in male. Our answer will be, we move to the slide, our answer will be option A here. Okay, so you have to by heart all the symptoms, all the effects of misuse of anabolic steroids both in male as well as in female. You got it? Other points, depressant effect on CNS, it is by use of some drugs. Depression, fatigue, aggressive and rebellious behavior, that is for alcoholism. Then euphoria, temporary feeling of well-being, that is for addiction. So all these statements, they belong to some other terms, some other features. So our answer will be option A only. We move to our next question. Wrong statement regarding the cause of cancer. So which is a wrong statement for cancer? Cancer is caused by three different ways, or there are three different causes of cancer: physical, chemical and biological. So among these statements, which is the wrong one? Our wrong statement will be option C here. You have to learn about oncogenes and proto-oncogenes. You should have a clear idea that proto-oncogenes, they are present in all the normal cells. In all our cells, we have the proto-oncogenes. And only when the proto-oncogenes are converted into oncogenes, we are getting cancer. So cancerous condition will happen only when proto-oncogenes are converted into oncogenes. So this statement is wrong. Cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes identified only in cancerous cell, that is wrong. Cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes, they are also identified or they are present in all the normal cells, not only in the cancerous cells, but all the normal cells have proto-oncogenes. Only in cancerous cells you can see the oncogene. You got it? So our answer will be option C, because that is the only wrong statement. Other statements are true regarding cancer. Okay, you can take a screenshot if you feel that I am going fast. Okay, shall we move to our next question? Of the following, one of the following is directly responsible for humoral immunity. Humoral immunity is by virtue of production of antibodies, and that is done by B cells. So B lymphocytes are responsible for humoral immunity, whereas T lymphocytes or macrophages, they are all involved in cellular type of immunity or cell mediated immunity. We have two types of immunity: cell mediated immunity and humoral immunity. So our correct answer will be option C here, B cells. We move on to our next question. The unique feature of acquired immunity. You should learn about acquired immunity very well. It is having specificity. Specifically, it will identify a microbe or a pathogen, and it will eliminate that pathogen. That is one character of acquired immunity. Acquired immunity is having diversity, or there are different types of antibodies concerned with different types of antigens. So there is a diversity among antibodies which will kill antigens or which will protect us from diseases. So there is diversity. There is memory. Memory means when there is a first encounter of the antigen, and if there is a second encounter of the same antigen, we can identify it very easily. And discrimination between self and non-self. So we don't attack our own cells. The acquired immunity never attacks our own cells. It will attack only those cells which enters from outside. Or only on foreign cells, foreign particles, acquired immunity will produce its response. So option A, B, C applicable for acquired immunity. Okay, so our answer all the above. Option D. We are stopping our class. So we will back with another set of questions from another chapter from first year. So tomorrow our discussion chapter will be digestion and absorption. So you should prepare yourself very well before attending our class. Otherwise, you may not be able to follow our questions and our explanations. So your preparation at the end of every class, I am always telling you about preparation. Preparation from your side is necessary for successful completion of a crash course. Okay, so prepare well. Come on the same time tomorrow. I will be back with another set of questions from digestion and absorption. Until then, it's goodbye from Stephen Classes.